Hi there, I hope you're all doing well. This week I do something a little bit different. I wanted to find out if I could use a single shadow color and a single highlight color with just changing up the midtone to get an interesting mini. For this test I went with lead grey as my shadow color mix and pastel yellow for my highlight color. The mini I've gone for is an Orc Chirurgeon by Kromlech. It's basically just an old school Painboi for an orc army. Starting off, I primed them black and used a mixture of lead grey and grass green over all of these skin. If you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the comments below. You can also join Discord using the link in the description, where you can share anything you have been hopping on, or just hang out and chat. I hope you enjoyed the video and find it useful. Building up the colour on the face, I mixed in some more grass green and covered a good chunk again. I just leave that darker tone in the deeper recesses and the shadowed parts. The main colour of the skin is of course grass green, going over all of the areas in the light. There are a few parts I leave darker, not just because of the shadows, I actually want to get a little bit of variation into that skin. Finishing off the skin, added some pastel yellow in and brought up the raised parts, and then again on some of the sharper edges. Moving on from the skin, I get started on the grey uniform with a base coat of lead grey mixed in with some grey castle. Although I don't get it on camera, I do paint the hat the same colour as the uniform later on. The mid-tone of the uniform is just some more grey castle going into that mix and covering a smaller area just in the light. Giving some scratchy brush strokes add a little bit of texture and make it look more like cloth. Finishing off the uniform, all of the raised folds and the edges get a scratchy highlight with pure grey castle. This takes a little while to get through it all, and a few places get a couple of coats just to brighten them up a bit more. I don't want to push the uniform any further, so instead I moved on to the leather parts, kicking off with a base coat of lead grey and noble steed brown. There isn't too much really to cover here, it's just the apron, boots and a couple of straps. Unlike the previous colours, there's only one shadow step here, and then I jump straight into the mid-tone with noble steed brown, covering the majority again except for the shadowed parts. Like with the uniform, the highlights are done in a scratchy style with some pastel yellow thrown into the mix. I build up some more texture and just pull the attention towards the sharpest edges. I gave these areas an additional highlight with a little extra pastel yellow at the same time. After I got all the leather finished, I realised there are a few pieces of string around the tools. These, along with the teeth, are done using lead grey and sandstones to start with. Because there isn't much, I jumped straight into sandstone next, only really leaving that shadow colour at the bottom of the teeth. On the string, I somewhat tried to avoid the underside, but you can't really tell because it's so small. The final step on the teeth is a little highlight on the very tops with some pastel yellow thrown into that mix. For the next step, I went for a quick one using lead grey and gory red as the base coat. Over the eyes, red cross and what I think should be a mirror, but I painted it red anyway just to break up the colour. Pushing the red brighter now, I used a couple of coats of pure gory red over these parts, which I then followed up with a small highlight on the corners on the cross and the opposite side of the mirror. I do dabble with the idea of bringing up the lip using this, but I decided against it and painted it back over it with the green afterwards. The final step on this mini is getting the metal parts all done. These will start off with a base coat of just lead grey. The cool tint it has works perfectly for a starter of some basic non-metallic metals. Starting on the reflections and the scratches, I mixed some uniform grey in and stippled and scratched my way around these tools. Focused mainly around the edges and some areas I decided the reflections would be. They won't be perfect reflections as the tools aren't exactly going to be clean or well looked after being an orc. For a smaller area inside the reflective parts and some scratches on the edges, I used pure uniform grey. This is then finished off with some pastel yellow in the mix with some random scratches over different areas of the tools and some of the edges facing it upwards. And that will be it for the Ork Painboi. I'm not really sure what I expected from the shared shadow and highlight colours, but the mini came out better than I thought it would, and I might try this again with some different colours mixed in there. If you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the comments below. You could also join Discord using the link in the description, where you can share anything you have been hobbing on, or just hang out and chat. For those of you who want to pick up some painting supplies or some new minis, there are a couple of affiliate links in the description below. I hope you enjoyed the video and found it useful. If you did, don't forget to drop a like and subscribe for more content. Most importantly though, be kind to each other.